Welcome back to Weekly Allowance, friends and enemies. Today we are looking at the Cosmic Legion's Tusk figures. There are 3 of them, and those 3 are the ones you see before you now. Tusk Engineer, Tusk Science Officer, and Tusk Sentry. And so Tusk is just an acronym. It stands for, it's on the box somewhere, Traders Union of the 5 Circles of Cosmarium. So T.U.5.C.C, Tusk. Not a perfect acronym, but I'll take it. I also like that the symbol for the Tusk people is this alien skull that has tusks. Very cute. So we're going to be looking at all 3 of these figures today. These are kind of just like Legion builders. They're a little bit more simple compared to the other figures in this wave. First off, we look at the box. My voice went real high there. You'll have to forgive my lighting situation. I turned off my ring light because it had a crazy glare on these plastic screens. But front of the box, figure. The Vakultar lore on the side. The character lore, or occupation lore, in this case, on the other side. Other figures in the wave on the back. So I have a tale to tell. These aren't the only Tusk officers that we have. They come with alternate heads, so we ordered a second set. Patrick went ahead and opened them because I like to go into these things blind, but all 3 had problems, which isn't very typical of 4 Horsemen products, at least not in my experience, but I'm going to list out the problems that they had just so you'll be aware and you can be on the lookout for those issues on your figures. And of course it remains to be seen if these will have the same issues or not. We'll find out together. So the alternate Sentry we got is very floppy-legged, and upon closer inspection, he literally has the wrong hip joint. The one that's inserted in here is smaller than it's supposed to be. So he is very, very floppy leg. They all are kind of floppy leg, but he in particular is a very bad case. The Engineer also has very loose hips, and she came with 2 left upper arms. It might be hard to see on camera, but yeah, those are both left arms. And the Science Officer, his issues were minor, but each of the Tusk officers are supposed to come with these clear pegs. He did not come with his. And there was a weird, mysterious black goo on him. Kind of a black gunk. If you've seen our Mezco Wolverine review, you'll see that this wasn't the first time we've experienced a mysterious black substance on our figures. But yeah, minor problems with him. But we did have problems with that entire order of extra Tusk officers, so just something to look out for. I am interested to see if these guys have the same issues or similar issues. Or maybe they're perfect. Let's find out. So like I said, these guys are meant to be Legion builders. They are officers within the Cosmarium, officers within the prison. I'm just going to go through them really quick and kind of describe their roles a little bit, and then we can move on to looking at them individually. So this is the Tusk Sentry. Basically, it is what it sounds like. These officers are tasked with making sure that prisoners do not escape, do not attempt to escape. If they do, they're going to have a bad time. The Engineers personally see to High Warden's log. If you remember, he's got a rather extensive life support system, so these are kind of like his personal mechanics that look after his suit. They're also highly trained in close combat, so they also serve as guards. And then we have the Science Officer in white. Like any good space prison, you're going to want to have laboratories. You want some mad science to be happening. You've got a lot of prisoners to experiment on. They have no rights within the prison. So these guys not only have at least a basic understanding of science, they are also tasked with protecting the scientists within. So these officers are a well-rounded group. They can do a lot of stuff. It's nice that they each have experience in fields outside their given field. Very multifaceted, and yet still somewhat insular. It's good to have in a workforce. So let's take a look at these. Let's look at Sentry first. He is, I don't want to say it like this, but he's the most boring, right? There's not much to him. He's basically a prime gray. It's kind of like they want you to paint over him and make him unique. And I am very tempted to, because this is so flat, so unlike the stuff I'm used to from 4 Horsemen. I understand that he's a builder, but it's just so flat and like uninteresting. I mean, the sculpt is there, of course, and looks really good. Love the details, but the paint, man, ugh. Of course, we've got reuse, which is fine. 4 Horsemen is all about reuse, and they do it in some really interesting ways. If you take off this covering, you can see like an eye kind of inside, and they're all kind of like that. These masks all have this singular kind of eye design underneath the domes. His is matte and opaque. The others are see-through. It's kind of a mustard yellow, which isn't a bad color at all with this matte gray. I prefer something more colorful. Just the other characters in this line are so extravagant with their paint in most cases, so it's just like, this guy's like, meh. Yeah, at least some panel lining or something would do good. And once again, like I said, I understand that this is a builder, so I imagine these will all have pretty much the same articulation and pretty much what we've been seeing in this line already. Fairly standard elbow joint swivel on that, but you also have some swivel on the gauntlet. Of course, some nice twist. This belt is a separate piece. Man, they love their pouches. Okay, good leg movement. His legs are much better than the other Sentry that we have. High kick. Nice knee. A little restrictive on that foot. I'm able to go back and forth and swivel, but I can't seem to get any side-to-side movement. And that might just be me, user error. It's worth noting that they all have these big back pieces and they all can come off. I'm not going to take this one off because I want to keep it on. And it's that simple. I'm not here to take these toys apart because I'm tired, you guys. I'm tired. And I'm having some paint flake on my review area, but I'm not noticing any paint flaking on the actual figure. It's probably all from the joints, so don't be scared. So Sentry comes with this sweet looking head. Look at this guy. It reminds me of a Leviathan from Subnautica. Kind of terrifying, but I love this sculpt, and I love the paint even more. Just the intense vibrancy of these eyes against the dark skin. All the Tusk agents kind of have long heads. Big brain boy. He'll also come with this helmet. Pew pew, sniper rifle, because he's a Sentry and he's gonna snipe people if they try to get away. He's just doing his job, you guys. He will also come with this staple of Cosmic Legions, these little mini blasters that go into his forearm gauntlets. Boop boo, boop boo. We also get these holding things hands in addition to the trigger finger hands already attached. And, oh man, these things, these clear pegs, I understand them, but they are a pain to keep track of if you don't have them in one area. The helmet does not go on very snugly, or at least I haven't found a way to get it to kind of lock in. It just doesn't want to. Olex was the same way. There might be a way to lock it in, but I just haven't found it, or my figures just are a little bit malformed to where they won't fit together. It's fine. It doesn't really bother me at all, even though that tone of voice made it seem like it does bother me. So yeah, verdict on Sentry. A little boring, if I'm gonna be honest. Very cool head though. I'm not sure on this, but I think they weren't originally going to have these extra alien heads. I think Four Horsemen just kind of added that when they got more and more orders for Cosmic Legions. Like a fun little, thanks. Next up, Science Officer. I do like this guy. It might be hard to tell on screen, but the white paint on him is pearlescent. It gives it a really cool effect. That looks so good with this blue. Once again, for him, there could be more. I would like to see pops of blue in other places. I do like the blue they have here. It's metallic, but yeah, I think if we just had that blue or a different kind like throughout, it would add a lot of visual pop to him. His head is able to kind of clear this hump, which would be a problem in certain figures. Yep, pretty much the same articulation. This piece is loosely attached, so it won't get in the way of the belt. The belt also moves and is rubbery. These parts in particular are very rubbery, so they won't get in the way of leg articulation. So far, no problems with these like we had problems with the other ones. Science Officer, stand still. Will come with this alternate head, which is really cool, a really neat alien sculpt. I love the purple skin. I love these metallic eyeballs. It really pops against the white of the suit. Speaking of the suit, it also comes with this collar piece. It does not have a dome like the other one. It is just this piece. More clear pegs. And man, I gotta tell you guys, it is so hot in here right now. I'm sorry for the tangent, but it's so hot. It's crazy. Like during the summer, it's in the middle of the night and it's still like 100 degrees outside and I'm just dying in this little tiny cramped room with no air conditioning. He'll come with extra hands. He's a 3-finger boy, or more accurately, I guess, 2 fingers and 1 thumb. A really cool holographic, very creepy skull to place in his gauntlet. I don't know what this is, if it's like a life scan for a prisoner or he's communicating with someone. It looks like a skeleton, so maybe it's like from an autopsy or something, I don't know. But it's very spooky. He also gets 3 weapons, and they are very shiny. I honestly love how shiny these are. I'm like a Barracuda just after the shiny things. Look at how shiny that is. I mean, it's not chrome, obviously, but it's almost chrome. Very cool weapons. He does not get little tiny blasters. He's above that. Also, it's dangerous. It's hazard in the lab. After a brief break to cool down, we return with the engineer. So a lot of her is reused from Ziri. She's a very small character. Be gentle with her because her joints are a little fragile. She's a bit on the plain side too, mostly black with only a few pops of color. But since it's all black, it's more visually appealing than the all gray Sentry. And I'm not noticing any problems with her. Her joints are very tight and I'm nervous. I guess I should heat her up. Oh, yep, there's a problem. What is that? Is that something I can scrape off, or is it part of the paint? Yeah, that's just some paint that's flaked off. And you you saw it live. All I did was flex that elbow and that was there. With an all black figure like that, that's really going to stand out. I don't really have problems like that usually with Four Horsemen products, but that's pretty noticeable. So far in the Cosmic Legions line, I've noticed a lot of little stray chips or pieces of paint where they aren't meant to be, and it hasn't really been an issue because they've been in places that you don't really notice, or the character is a little weathered anyway. But this is pretty bad. I guess it's not so bad if you always leave her arm like that, but I don't know. I wouldn't say it bothers me to the point of complaining about it, but it's there. So let's look at this one. This one is fine. I'm not noticing any paint issues anywhere else, but yeah, that is a little disappointing. Overall, it kind of seems like less love and care was put into these three than the rest of the line, which I totally understand. These are builders. They're less important characters. I think they were cheaper. They're probably the cheapest ones. And to be honest, they were the ones I was looking forward least to reviewing, just because they're kind of like meh. All the other characters are very intricate and beautiful, have big personalities. And these are just, you know, kind of like faceless mooks. But I'm not saying they're bad by a long shot. It's just like compared to the rest of the wave, which has been insane, these just really pale in comparison. It's hard to compete with like Kragnar and Ziri and Olek. Kragnar especially, he's my boy. So another thing I wanted to mention is to be very careful when you are replacing her hands. And the same goes with Ziri. They're very small characters. The pegs are very thin. So it is so easy to just break the peg in there. So just try to grab it by the peg if you can, using leverage with your fingernails. Otherwise you do risk breaking part of it. She's got some pretty good head movement. She's got some chest movement, unlike the bros. There's that paint elbow, my nickname in high school. This thing likes to pop off very easily. Get back in there. It's hard to get it back in because it's kind of situated underneath the belt. Good leg movement, as we've seen so far with these guys. She gets a little shift in her foot. I really like her spooky helmet. So once again, this clear part can come off to reveal the single eye underneath. I don't know why you would take it off though, because you can see through it and it adds a really cool effect. So she will also come with these little blasters. They're a weird green-gray color. I don't know if that really matches up with her color scheme. I don't think I care for that. I've been praising this line so far for their choices of color combinations. Really beautiful colors, but I don't know about this black, red, and like army green. I don't personally care for that. She'll also come with these trigger finger hands. Oh, and before I move on, sorry this is a little bit disjointed, but I want to do this before I forget. We also got this Tusk hands pack. Came with a ton of Tusk character hands for all three of them. They used to be neatly arranged in this box, and then Patrick dropped them. So now they are messily arranged in this little container thing. All the hands you could possibly want. So she also comes with an alternate head, and it freaks me out real bad, because here's where the eyes are supposed to be, but there's no eyeballs. There's a big, scary eye right in the middle of her head. It just like weirds me out. And she's got some texture. It looks kind of like an octopus folded in on itself and made a head. It's a really cool character design, but it's so scary. What does it look like when she's angry? Does this one eye like narrow. Did her people used to have eyes here? I have a lot of questions. So she comes with more weapons. She comes with these blasters in that same kind of dull gray-green. And this, what I assume is a shock spear type thing. I think the Sphexians also came with this. Theirs were a little bit more intricately painted. This is just that flat gray-green color. So she is well prepared to defend High Warden's log. So yeah, they're cool builders. It's just, like I've said before, in comparison to the rest of the wave, they're just, you know, they're okay, which is still pretty good. I will say, in addition, that this character with this alternate head on, it doesn't get much range because the head is so long and this collar piece is so high. Like I said before, this can come off, but I do wish there had been like a little dip in this maybe so we'd get more movement out of her unmasked head. But I do like that we get options for heads, masked and unmasked. That way it adds to the Legion builderness of it all. And of course you can mix and match the heads, mix and match the weapons, however you see fit. So only two reviews to go in book 1 of Cosmic Legions. We've got Vorga and we have Gravering Olek Thygar. I hope it didn't seem like I was too hard on these. They are very cool, but we did have issues with them, and they're just lacking in a lot of detail that the other figures have. Still worth it, I think, if you want some sci-fi builders. So, I hope you enjoyed this review. Likes and subscribes are very much appreciated. Comments are more than welcome. I'll see you guys on the next one.